All right, here we are. Welcome, welcome. This is Dawn Reby from Excellence in Analytics. And hopefully I got this figured out right now. So hopefully we are live. Carolyn, if you're popping on in here, let me know that we are live here in our Tribe of Excellence Facebook community. And I think Facebook has actually done some different things with Facebook. So now I'm vertical, not horizontal anymore. So here I am. Hopefully you can see me. Michelle, welcome. Let me know that you can see this okay, because Facebook has done a little something different and it's like this way instead of this way. So hopefully you can see me. Let me know that that you are here with me, that we are here together. It's cold outside. It's like, well, I suppose it's not terribly cold. It's around 50 degrees out. A little bit cooler, maybe 55 degrees out, which is cool for up here in the Northeast. So we're just starting to get into our fall weather. So we're here today to talk about, really what leadership habits are, some high purpose people habits, So go ahead, let me know that you are here live. I'm going to go ahead and check over here to see if we have something going on. Yeah, I really can't tell. I'm hoping that this is working. So fingers crossed this is working. We are talking about high purpose people and high purpose environments and what really leadership habits are in this arena. So we're going to spend a little time here together today. I'm Dawn Reby from Excellence in Analytics. Excited that you are here with us, whether you're listening live or to the replay. Go ahead and let us know that you are here live or listening to the replay. Ooh. All right, so I don't see any comments, which means you probably are commenting and I don't see them. So I'll go back if I don't quite see them, but keep on sending some love and comments so that we can make sure we answer all of your questions. So we're going to give you, I've been reading this new book by Robin Sharma. If any of you guys are Robin Sharma fans, he's quite remarkable. He wrote the 5 a.m. Club as well. And this book is called The Everyday Hero Manifesto. And it really, there were certain concepts that were really jumping out relative to leadership habits that I wanted to share with all of you here today. And, and he talks a lot about this idea of going from a victim mindset to a hero mindset. And that's really critical for leadership habits. The thinking and the mindset that we have and how we can turn off that victimization and build ourselves into the heroes of our lives. And so, he talks about this shifting at this cellular level and shifting our mindset, which is some of the conversations with Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, Lisa Nichols, and all of those folks who really think about how Bob Proctor, those folks who really teach that the things happen first in your mind and then in reality. So if you're a victim in your mind, right, then that is going to come true in your real world. If you're a hero in your mind, then that is also going to come true. Today, we're going to talk about 5 things that you can do to shift from, figure out if you are thinking like a victim, but shift from thinking like a victim into being your own hero as a leadership habit in your very own life. And so, and this is all about personal greatness. How do we move from mediocrity, right, to personal greatness? So I really am enjoying this book. If any of you guys are readers out there, it's called Everyday Hero Manifesto. Activate your positivity, maximize your productivity, and serve the world. So we're going to share 5 tips that he shares with us today. And one of them is shift from a can't to a can mindset. Shift from a can't to a can mindset. A lot of times people who have this victim mentality will be thinking about why they can't do something because they have certain fears around the word can, right? And so, we want to get to underneath what exists for you if you have this can't. Now let's think about this. Have you said to yourself at all, I don't see any comments here, so I'm going to see if I can go onto my Facebook page, but that is broken right now. So apparently I'm breaking Facebook. I'm breaking Facebook right now. So I'm thinking that there's some communication here, but I can't see anything that you're saying. All right, let's see. I think I might be able to pop in over here. All right. So, okay, I do see some comments over here, just not on the computer, so I'm going to, phone rather, so I'm going to read them from here. Becky, you love it when your son says, I can't. I tell him I don't know that word. Exactly, exactly. Yeah, Steve, you were on the ILET session. I'm so thankful. If you have not already registered for ILET, it's a free training resource. There's over 50 subject matter experts, and they invited me to be on, and my session was Wednesday, which was yesterday. So I was really excited about that. But they're recording them too, so you can go ahead and get access to those. Thank you, Steve, for that. Yeah, that was a ton of fun, and I'm very happy with the ILET group. They do a ton of great training free for law enforcement, and you can upgrade, and then that supports law enforcement endeavors. So I was really happy, and mental health for law enforcement. So I was really happy to be part of that. Let's see, what else we got here. Thank you, Caroline, for popping on here and sharing as well. All right, let's see. Okay, I think I got everyone's comment over there. So let's go on, shifting from that can't mindset to the can mindset. So Becky, when your grandson says, I can't, Becky says, oh, yes, you can, right? Yes, you can. And for those of you who have not heard the peanut butter and jelly story, we're going to post that later on today, you know, of this concept of can't versus can. My daughter was making her peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it was with organic raw nuts, and she was just like, it won't spread, and I can't do this. And I made her stay in the kitchen and come up with 3 solutions. I didn't care what they were or if they even worked. I just cared that she came up with those solutions. I'm going to mute my chaos that's happening over here. Okay. And so coming up with solutions and failing forward and being able to, you know, try your cans, right? Recognizing that you can and dive on in. A lot of times people will say, well, I can't do that. I can't talk to my chief. I can't fit everything into my schedule. I can't. And truly what happens is underneath all of that is fear. Fear related to what's going to happen if you try. So shifting your mindset to that trying, that falling forward, that failing forward mindset is key. And it starts with the language that we use. So I'm looking at Robin Sharma uses language, and here is some language. Hope, execution, freedom, right? Hope, execution, freedom. You know, this can, C-A-N, this can word really gives you this ability to lead this gorgeous life. If I said to myself, Dawn, you can't, in fact, I did. Over a year ago, I said to myself, you can't, nobody in law enforcement is going to want to go on Facebook. This is where we find our criminals, right? And so I said, I can't do that. I can't do that. And then I'm like, well, what if I try? What if I try? And, you know, in the beginning, nobody saw anything. Nobody showed up. But I kept on trying, and I kept on trying. And now I'm so fortunate I get to go all over the country and do this kind of work, because the can turned into something amazing, turned into a gorgeous life. So you can too. I'm going to check some comments over here. I can see that you're commenting over here. So I'm going to come back to this every once in a while. Yes, Sadie, I see that you have joined on in here as well. Yes, Michelle, shifting from that can concept, from the I can't to the can. So do you wait for powers outside yourself to give you the ability to can? Do you wait for somebody else to tell you that you can, that it's possible? Or are you the avenger? Are you the person who's believing, who's trying, who's moving forward, who's you know, having that hope and living that gorgeous life because you designed it that way, right? So that would be the first thing. So in leadership, we talk about exceptionalism. And how do we become exceptional as leaders? Well, we decide that we're showing up with excellence and exceptionalism, right? And so here I have some words that are really, Sharma talks about them being force fields. Your words are your force fields. And so when you show up with this concept of can, you know, you use these words of hope. Oh goodness. All right. I finally see a comment over here. Steve, you're the one. It worked. I see the comment over here. Private Facebook groups. One nice thing about this platform. Yeah, exactly. So we can tell ourselves today, and I wrote this down today, I am showing up with excellence and kindness. That's something that I tell myself every day. Today I'm showing up with excellence and kindness. And I, you know, recognize that it is me who has to say I can. People around me have told me you can't do this all my life. In fact, when I thought about this concept of wellness and policing for law enforcement analysts and leaders and supervisors and chiefs, years ago, they said, no one's going to do that. You can't do that. You can't, Dawn. You can try, but you can't. And I did it anyway. And now look, we talk all about wellness. We talk all about, executive wellness, right? Yes, you are number one, Steve. You sure are. Exactly. So what are the words that you're telling yourself? Are you telling yourself can, or are you telling yourself can't? Are you telling yourself, oh, I can't change anything at my police agency because, I'm just one person? Or I believe in this big political, social, justice platform, but I can't make a change because I'm just one person. And the truth is you can. You absolutely can. You plug away, you commit to the language that you tell yourself, and you can. So shifting, so that was number one, shifting from a can't to a can mindset. So the number two, shift from making excuses to delivering impact. Shift from making excuses to delivering impact. So this is a key word in leadership, right? In leadership habits, whatever field you're in. I don't care if you're a medical professional or a chief in a police department, or you run the FBI, right? The reality is you must shift from, yes, Caroline, can't to can, exactly. And number two, you must shift from this making excuses to making impact, and really asking yourself every day, how can I create impact? How can I create impact? When you decide that your role is going to be to create impact, the how you do it doesn't become as critical, right? Because you can make impact in so many different ways, with so many different platforms, with so many different, methods, right? As leaders, if you follow John Maxwell or you follow some of the other big industry leaders, who really move people into intentional leadership. Mike Marino, we had on here as one of our guest speakers, Dave Mathers, another guest speaker. So depending what school of thought you follow in terms of leadership, for us, it's the servant leadership model. Moving from excuses to impact is really key. And so you don't have to hold a leadership title for you to hold these beliefs, right? You can be the leader in your family and shift from excuses. Oh, I didn't, plan the family trip. I didn't do this. I can't do that. To impact. What impact do I want my family to have today? So I did this today with my daughter who's going to be 25 this month. I can't even believe it. She had moved out and then she came back for 2 years during COVID. And now this weekend she is moving out again. She's on her own again. And so I know she's stressed and overwhelmed. And I said to myself, what's the impact that I want to create in this human's life today? And the impact that I wanted to create for her was de-stress, was letting her know that I got her back, because we've been butting heads lately, right? So letting her know that I have her back, letting her release some stress. So she walked up her stairs, because she has her little apartment downstairs, and she walked up her stairs and, she's like, good morning, like she does every morning, right? And I said, wait. And I went over to her and I gave her a big hug, and she did the pat and then tried to let go, and I'm like, oh no. And I gave her a bigger hug and I said, I love you. I know today's a big day for you. Tomorrow's a big day. She's also in a wedding, so things are a little chaotic for her. And I said, what can I do to make your day easier today? What can I do to make your day easier today? That impact. Hello, Renee. So good to see you here today. Welcome back, Renee. And so as, she's coming up at 6 a.m, I'm giving her this hug. She's like, what are you doing? And I said, what can I do to make your life easier today? Right? And she says, oh, well, my comforter didn't come in. Can you go buy me a comforter? Right? And so I'm like, oh, shoot, because now I hate shopping. So now I got to go to the store and get her a comforter. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because that's the impact that I want to make with her. She wants to be in her new apartment, in her bed with the comforter. She had thrown away her comforter thinking that the other one would come in time. It did not. So she needs a comforter. So I'm going to go get her that comforter. So ask yourself, what impact do you want to make today in your home life, in your career life, in your leadership world, right? What impact do you want to create? So moving away from making excuses. My excuse right now could be, I'm way too busy today to do anything for her, right? I'm way too busy, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to stop making excuses and figure out the impact that I want to create and make that happen. Okay, so the first leadership thought from this book, for those of you who are following along, Everyday Hero Manifesto by Sharma. Activate your positivity, maximize your productivity, and serve the world. We are talking about some of the key concepts that are coming out of this book for me personally. And so the first one is shifting from that can't to that canned mindset. The second one is shifting from making excuses to delivering results, delivering impact. That's key. Assume absolute responsibility of everything that comes into your life, right? Assume absolute responsibility for how things look now. And when you do that, you actually increase your productivity. You increase your impact. You decide, how can I make the change in my life? If I am not productive, if I am busy all the time, if I am, in that mindset, I am responsible for that, right? I am responsible for that. So if my home is not the way that I want it to be, if I sit at my desk all day and don't get up to take a break, I need to take responsibility for that and say, what's the impact that I want to create? And in that case, I want to create an impact of self-care for myself so that I can operate and show up better for other people, right? So there you go. Yes, Ciara needs that comforter. It's like a duvet insert. And I'm like, oh, Lordy, but we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. And I'm also going to get her a little love package put together because that's the impact that I want to make for her, letting her know that she's cared about, even during this crazy time of her life. Okay, so the third piece is shifting from living in the past to making a brighter future. Shifting from living in the past to making a brighter future. Now, our pasts are really important for us, right? We want to look at our past, but we don't want to lead with our past. And there's this really great saying, right? That when you're driving a car, you're looking in the rear view mirror that's like this big, right? Maybe this big. Maybe it's like this big, technically. You're looking in the rearview mirror to kind of see what's behind you. But if you were staring in the rearview mirror the entire time, right, then you wouldn't really be moving forward in life. So yes, we have to look in that rearview mirror. We have to see what was in our past that can help enlighten us for what's going to be in our future. But we can't focus only in our past. Welcome, Sadie. Welcome. Greetings, Jason. Nice to see that you are here today. So we're talking about how to leap from victim into hero, from victim mindset into hero. And we're giving, 5 key things that you can do. So moving from that can't to can mindset. Number 2, shifting from making excuses to delivering impact. Constantly asking yourself, what's the impact as a leader? These are the habits of leaders, right? What's the impact that I want to create, okay? Instead of making excuses as to why you can't do something. And number 3, shifting from living in the past to making that brighter future. And so let's ask yourself, are you chained to your past? Are you chained to something that happened in your past? And I was for a long time. I remember not dating for years because I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust that I would make a good decision because I had made a really poor decision in my past. And I was chained down by that thought that, oh, what if I screw up again and bring someone into my children's life that is not a good quality person, right? And so I didn't trust myself and I just put the brakes on completely. And when you live like that for so long, maybe that's how you live in your career. Maybe that's how you live in your friendships, right? Where you can't let people in, or you don't trust yourself to leap again because you fell hard before in your past in different areas of your life. And so when you live in that mentality, when you avoid risk altogether, when you don't trust in yourself, you're really living in that past. And I'll remind you, and I remind myself too, that the past, yes, we must examine, we must reflect on our past. But when we live there, we really can't give our true gifts and our true selves to the world, right? So ask yourself, What is chaining you down right now? What thoughts are chaining you down right now? Jason says, what do you do when you are part of an organization whose leaders don't want or have a leadership development succession plan? Good question, Jason. So if your team, if your larger team doesn't see or doesn't have a leadership development plan, one of the things that I see with leaders, they invest in themselves. Whether you're reading leadership books or talking to mentors or building your community, right? Or hiring a coach, you are investing in your own leadership. There's lots of wonderful leadership programs out there. There's our leadership program, right? That one-on-one leadership program. There's the John Maxwell leadership program. There's many of my friends have their own leadership programs for corporate, for C-suite, right? So there's lots of leadership growth opportunities. And what I find is when we don't take the initiative ourselves, when we rely on our corporate or we rely on our law enforcement or whatever company we're working on, we rely for them to teach us leadership, then we really are not doing ourselves justice, Jason, right? We really, must take control of our own futures, right? Of our own futures. We must really say to ourselves, what do we need to be the leaders we want to be? And so for leaders, I don't know one leader who doesn't have a coach. Every single leader I know, including myself, have a team of people who are helping them, have coaches who are helping them move past limiting beliefs, move into a more productive future. So, one of the key things I would say would be leaders read. Leaders read, leaders read. So, when I was in law enforcement analysis, like sitting in an office, the last thing I wanted to do was read. But trust me, reading helps you to think differently. There are wonderful books that I can recommend. One of the ones that I'm reading right now is this one right here by Robin Sharma, The Everyday Hero Manifesto. I love the book Intentional Living by John Maxwell. I love Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. There's some great authors out there that really will move forward your leadership growth. And so, podcast leaders, one of my favorite podcasters is Lewis Howes. He does a lot of thought leadership kind of thinking and guest speakers that come on board. So don't wait. I guess, Jason, that's my message. Don't wait for your work environment to rise you to leadership. Rise yourself into leadership, and they will see. And if they don't see, perhaps you're not in the right position, right? You're not at the right environment, right? So lead yourself into leadership. Start with reading. Most leadership programs I know have some kind of reading that goes along with it. Another great leadership book is The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. We're reading that in our leadership program right now, right? Steve says, once bitten, twice shy is also a saying. Sometimes it's difficult to overcome past mistakes and just learning from them. Absolutely. And so we need to lead ourselves with vision, with heart, with experience, right? We don't want to forget the experience that we have had, but we do want it to help guide us and not derail us, if that makes sense, Steve. So let's see. Steve also says, I think it's a very common issue in many organizations across human endeavors. Exactly. And so a lot of times, and myself included, I sought a leadership coach. I said, I have to go find someone who's going to grow me in the way that I need to be grown. And then I sought another one who could reach me at a business leadership coach. And then I sought a group of like-minded entrepreneurs who were doing what I was doing. So you have to find your leadership growth opportunities. Reading is a good start, but I highly recommend a group mastermind rather, and some kind of one-on-one coaching. I think that really plummets people. Jason's leadership podcast is a wonderful one. If you haven't seen that already, Jason, plug that link to that podcast in there around leadership. I think you do a wonderful job growing people on that leadership level too. All right, so that's terrific. And if you'll have other leadership ideas, ways that you've grown your own leadership, go ahead and plug it into the chat. I'm interested in learning what has really inspired you. There's this thing called the proximity principle. Getting yourself around other leaders is really, really key so that you can think and talk about topics of leadership, okay? Whether or not you're a current leader. All right. So we have shifting from living in the past to making that brighter future. Be a bold producer. Be a bold producer, okay? Have courage. Be a bold producer. If I didn't have courage, I would never, ever have written a book, right? Which is coming out October 21st, right? If I didn't have courage, if the people around me didn't have courage, I wouldn't have learned from them. So you really want to be a bold producer. And so maybe that's what you tell yourself. Maybe that's the language you give to yourself. I am a bold producer of excellence. I am a leader in industry. I am a leader in my current role. Maybe you say to yourself, I am the CEO of Crime Analysis, right? Yeah, book plug. 10:21 exactly. 1 p.m. Eastern here. Not here. We're actually going to be on my personal Facebook page as well as some other pages. We're going to be giving away all kinds of things. We have collaborated with a bunch of other people to give away their things too, and everything's going to be, oh my God, 99 cents from 1 p.m. Eastern over in here, not here, on my personal Facebook page. So be sure to join us. Yes, October 21st, Michelle, that's right. And exactly, be bold. Be bold. It's your life. You are the main character of your story. So let's get going. Figure out what you want and be bold and go and get it. Number 4, shift from being busy to being productive. No fake work. And here's the thing. Busyness your drug of choice? Is busyness your drug of choice? So many people, are addicted to being busy because they feel like that's giving value, right? When they have 50,000 things to do, they're like, oh my God, I'm needed and I'm wanted. And so they feel a value. Is it your drug of choice? Is busyness your drug of choice? Caroline says, I love this be bold concept. You only got one life. Live it to the most. Absolutely. Be bold. Take risk. Be bold. So shifting from that busy life to being productive, people will say to me, Dawn, you're so busy. And I'm thinking to myself, I suppose it sometimes can look like that when you look at my time chunking schedule and you look at the achievement, the things that I'm looking to achieve. But the reality is I'm filling my life with things that are productive in my mindset, right? So spending time playing games with my daughter might look busy because it's blocked off in my schedule, but that's so productive because I want to build a relationship that's of quality, right, with my daughter. And, in terms of career stuff, yeah, it can get very, I can get very inundated. I mean, I had 3 outreaches just the other day and I actually got them confused and sent them the wrong emails. And so I got to focus. So, teaching classes and what is going to be really productive versus busy. And so sometimes I ask myself, Dawn, you're sweeping the floor again. Like, is that busy work or is it really productive work? And sometimes I really think it's busy work that I have to check myself and say, you don't really need to do that. That's keeping yourself busy. Let's talk about what you want the impact to be. So Steve says, is being busy your addiction, your drug of choice? Yeah. Hey, Joe, nice to see you here. Glad that you are popping on in. So we're talking about leadership habits. We're talking about key mindsets that leaders are thinking, whether or not you are in a leadership role. You want to be thinking about these concepts, right? So, to recap, the first one was shift from a can't to a can mentality, right? Really, canceling out your can'ts and only wanting exceptional. That's it, right? Number 2, shifting from making excuses to delivering results and delivering impact, right? Assume absolute responsibility and deliver results, period. All right. Number 3 was shifting from living in the past and into making a brighter future, recognizing that the past leads you and guides you, but really decide to be a bold producer with the lessons from your past, but don't be chained to your past. Darcy says, good advice. I still struggle with busy as a drug of choice. And that's number 4. Shifting from being busy to being productive. Is being busy your drug of choice? So Darcy says, I still struggle with busy as a drug of choice, but I love your perspective because I've gotten much better about filling my schedule with things that also rejuvenate me and feed my soul. I love it, Darcy. Darcy has been with us for, gosh, I want to say since June or July. I remember your notes. Maybe is that true? Maybe it's a little bit later. I think it's been quite some time. You know, and Darcy's been going through this evolution where she's thinking about, okay, I am very busy, I am very overwhelmed, I am very stressed, you know, but how can I shift that? And she's done a good job shifting that, and apparently still checks yourself. You still check yourself just like I still check myself, which is wonderful. And Sadie says, this group has been a huge impact on bettering myself. Sadie, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that you're owning your role in all this. You're showing up. You're being reminded. You're around a bunch of people who really care about you, and you're making change in your life. That's fantastic. Oh, since January, you took a break because work was busy. Yes, Darcy, exactly. You took a break because work was busy. So since January, that's almost a year you've been hanging out here with us, which is wonderful. So glad that you are here and coming back. And your comment around busyness being a drug of choice. So many leaders, whether you're leading a team or leading your life, or both, right? So many leaders are super busy. And I want you to ask yourself, is what my drug of choice is being busy? Do I constantly fill every minute with something? You know, and so what leaders do is take these time chunks and call them margin or white space or leadership of self or whatever it is, so that you are taking really good care of yourself. And it simply can be putting your feet on the earth. It could be thinking strategically, right? It could be, what do I need today to operate at my highest efficiency rate, right? So when you think about your busyness, I want you to think about this. And I wrote this down. I love this language from Robin Sharma. He says, create towering work that embraces your artistic mastery. Create towering work that embraces your artistic mastery. Really taking a breath, slowing down, and really ensuring that the work that you are producing, the words that you are saying, the busyness in your schedule is truly your mastery, right? Truly your mastery. You are producing towering work. You are proud of the legacy that you are building. That's what leaders are thinking. And then the fifth shift, and the final shift here is shifting from taking of the world to giving. Shifting from taking, gimme, to giving. When you show up with this consistent enthusiasm to give to the world, the results are extraordinary. When you live in scarcity mindset, like there's not enough, and I have to hoard, right? Whether it's hoarding food or items or concepts or tools or supplies, whatever it is, when you're living in the scarcity mindset, thinking there's not enough of things, you cannot possibly really live in your excellence, right? You want to shift to thinking, how can I deliver excellence to the world around me? And I'll give you an example. This just happened the other day. I belong to this large group of women entrepreneurs who own their own businesses, right? And so they share resources and referrals and all that fun stuff. And one of them reached out and she's like, hey, I'm working with this client. She was working with a law firm, and she says, hey, I'm working with this client and they need some help around organization. Can you help at all? And I said to her, well, yeah, so do they have a vision statement? And they didn't. They did kind of, but it wasn't really not an internal vision statement. So I gave her mine. I said, hey, here's mine. Work with them to develop their vision statement, and then we can work on some productivity stuff. That's when they have that vision statement prepared, that vivid vision prepared, the functionality of it, the operations of it, the productivity of it is going to flow better. So get that done, and then I'll pop in and I'll have a conversation with your group. And I just gave it to her, just thinking like that, that's what she needed. And so she came back to me. We had a conversation today, and she's like, you know, Dawn, you really impacted me because you were so free to give away your stuff. You're like, here you go for it and have fun with it, and then come back and we'll revisit it. And I didn't really think about it because we do that all the time in law enforcement. We say to people, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, just use my stuff, right? We do this all the time. And it didn't seem like a hard anything for me. I just sent her an email and I'm like, here, use this. And so, but it impacted her in such a way that she was really moved by it. And she's like, you know, I'm not used to people just being so giving and so, you know, sharing of their products. And so now we're going to be working together on another capacity, on a larger capacity, because of this service mindset. And so in law enforcement, you know, in service-based industries, we're so used to this, right? So, you know, Steve, I see your comment in here. I would much rather be around givers than takers. Takers are also a big mental drain on you anyway. Exactly. But when someone reaches out to me, or Caroline does this amazingly all the time. Someone reaches out and they say, hey, Caroline, can you help me with, you know, finding this? Caroline's like, sure, we have this document that can help you in your agency, right? So she does a wonderful job of that. I just wrapped up teaching 2 courses, actually. I wrapped up teaching this computer applications course for IACA, which is kind of like a basic introductory course into Excel, Access, PowerPoint, and things like that. And so one of the students said, hey, I'm doing a cold case analysis, and I don't have anything electronic to store all my cold cases. And I said, you know, I know someone, her name is Jen Koner, and she just put together a cold case database. I can ask her to just scrub her data out of it and give you the template if that would work for you. And Jen, so I reached out to Jen and I was like, hey, can you just delete your data and send me your skeleton database? That would really help out this agency who's trying to do something around their cold cases too. And Jen says, sure. And she deleted, I mean, it took her probably 10, 15 minutes to do. She deleted everything. She sent me the draft database or skeleton database, and I shot it off to the analyst who just finished the class, right? That was not part of my job description as the instructor for that class. That was not part of Jen's job description as whatever, you know, her job description is. But we're so giving in this analytical world that, you know, I'm going to remember that Jen gave that so freely. That student's going to remember that we exchanged in that way. So, you know, I encourage you to really think about how you can be a giver. Steve says, I have found the analyst community is great about giving stuff away. Really, and why not? Why would you have someone reinvent the darn wheel? Exactly. So that last concept of shifting from this taking to this giving, and quite honestly, it's really been helpful in our company as well, because we've always come from a place of giving. In fact, look we're here giving today, every Thursday, which is about to shift to Wednesdays, but I'll tell you about that later, right? And so when you come from a place of service, right, our team is coming, and Michelle's giving, Ria's giving, Jen's giving, Annie's giving, Caroline's giving. You know, we have all these people giving, and we've had some people in this group who've reached out to me privately and is like, and they say, you know, I think you can benefit, your group can benefit from this. Here's the document. Do you mind sharing? You'll see in our guides, we have stuff that other analysts have just given to us because they want to share with other analysts. How remarkable. So Sharon says, yes, we share all the time. Oops, let me see if I can see more of that. Oh, I can't open it up. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Sharon says, we share all the time, even though there are many analysts in our department. We see each other as teammates, build each other up. Exactly. Michelle says we're a big group of givers, champions. So leaders are thinking about how can you give, and sometimes your giving mindset. Sometimes your giving mindset to other people, really helping them develop their own leadership, their own mindset. Yeah. Right? Yes. We are going to continue to serve on Thursdays and including up through the book launch on October 21st. And then we're going to be switching to Wednesdays so that we can really serve more compactly. So we've talked about, 5 things that leaders do in terms of habits. And these are really thinking habits, right? Yes, exactly. The productivity gold nuggets. Exactly, Sadie. Yes, we share it. And I'm positive that, Sadie, you're going to share those nuggets with other people because you are also very giving, right? And so high purpose people and environments, leaders create high purpose people and environments. We do this through habits, and the 5 habits that we're talking about today are from Robin Sharma's book, The Everyday Hero Manifesto, shifting from can't to can, right? Shifting from making excuses to delivering results, shifting from living in the past to making a brighter future, shifting from being busy to being productive, and then finally shifting from taking of your world to giving of your world. And you also see some of these concepts in other great books like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and in multiple leadership books. Mike Marino's leadership books talks also about this service mentality. So, as leaders, we really want to be thinking about the things that leaders think about, the success habits that we do and think about. And these are 5 that can really get you to a very different place. I didn't see, Jason runs a leadership podcast. I didn't see his podcast link in here, but it's Jason Muhammad. He leads a leadership podcast, and he's actually giving of his time. He's going to be sitting with our leadership community not long from now. I think it's October 12th. He's going to be sitting with our leadership community, sharing his own nuggets on leadership, and really getting he's going to be one of our private guest speakers to our private group, and sharing his tremendous leadership talent. So continue to give, continue to exchange services, continue to exchange ideas, and you will find that your own stretch in your own world grows exponentially. Caroline says, these sessions really make my week. Seeing all of you grow, this giving mindset is amazing. Yeah, it sure is. So whether you're here live or you're listening to the replay, give us some love. Let us know that this stuff is really resonating with you. Joe, Sharon, Sadie, Becky, all you folks, Steve, you folks who are here with us live, as well as all the folks who are going to be listening to this replay. There's so much value that you can provide when you have these leadership mindset habits in place. And of course, if you ever want to take it to another level and up level yourself, like we were talking about earlier, we have a leadership program. We have one-on-one coaching, for our leaders that really accelerate their progress, that get them to the next level. So, feel free to come back and join us there or here next Thursday. We will certainly be happy to see you there as well. So thank you all for joining in today. I appreciate you. I appreciate you showing up week after week, and I look forward to seeing you next week. All right. Big hugs to you too, Darcy. Bye, y'all.